Howdy, I'm Tommy.
And I'm Patty.
And we are
Alderman
Farms.
We're sitting here, well, I'm sitting here, he's standing here at the back of our camper van. And we're fixing to be going on a long road trip, and I've always wanted to have a table in the back of my van. But I didn't want it to be there all the time because I like to use the back doors too. And this is our beds, and so we have a problem with our beds too. And if you can see how it hangs over, our mattress does, and when you're up here it kind of feels like you're going to fall out the bed. So I thought, you know, like they do in campers, they have a table, that you have a table but then you drop it down for the bed. And so I figured out we could do that. But then I thought how cool it would be if it was one of those rotating kind or swivel kind. Well, I looked them up and I didn't want to pay that much, and so I got to thinking and drawing.
That's always an adventure.
Anyway, so, and as I was doing that, I had my plans and I was still doing some searching, and I happened upon Back to Reality. And he
YouTube channel.
Yeah, YouTube
right?
channel, yeah. And he had a great video of making a homemade swivel pivot table. And so that's what we're fixing to do.
And if you want to see, please do this. Go to his channel. We're going to put a link to that video in the description of this video because
we learned a lot
yeah,
from his video.
Yeah.
And that was one thing. You know, I knew I needed to get some pipe and some heavy pipe, and I knew we needed to get all this stuff, but I didn't know what any of it was called, and he helped me so much.
Yeah, thanks to Back to Reality for very detailed instructions.
Yes.
So I'm usually not very confident in putting things together, but with his instructions plus the visual of the video, I'm completely confident that we can do this.
Yes.
Here we go. All right, so every vehicle is different. We couldn't use the exact same measurements that the Back to Reality guy did for his vehicle. What kind of vehicle was it? Was it a camper?
I don't know. They call it a camper van.
Yeah, so I'm not sure it was a van or what, but we had to measure our own. We had to find out how tall, how high our bed was off of the ground. We're dealing with a little slight difference in size from one side to the other, height from one side to the other, but that's no big deal. So it's not, we knew going in it wasn't going to be a perfect marriage. It wasn't going to be perfectly level.
And one thing with our van, we've built it out. This is a passenger wagon, and we've built it out where everything can come completely out in an hour or less,
yeah.
And we could put seats back in. His van was not like that. His bed went all the way across the back, so his table was more in the middle.
More permanently constructed.
Yeah, more permanent construction. So, you know, every build's going to be a little different.
Right. So the rotating piece was built out of galvanized pipe. 2 pieces of galvanized pipe with 2 elbows. A 90. So this one is going to, oh, sorry. This one will be vertical to the ground. It'll fit into here. This is a female to female 90, and we're using 3/4 inch. I think he used bigger pipe.
Yeah, he used 1 1/4 inch. Our store didn't have 1 1/4 inch, and then we had 1 inch. We were going to use that, but then it didn't have all the pieces, so now we're down to 3/4 inch.
3/4 of an inch.
We think it's going to be fine.
Right.
We don't have kids that's going to be leaning on the table and stuff like that.
Grab the flange.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so then you have female to male end.
Right.
Here. And see, I didn't know what this thing was even called. You know, this is called a flange. And then this screws on here. I'm not gonna screw it on now.
And it'll be, right.
And then our plywood will go on top for our tabletop. So.
Now, the
was
vertical pipe will be, let me reposition this. The galvanized pipe will be able to turn like this, the vertical one, because it's going to be down inside a piece of PVC pipe with a cap to prevent damage to the floor. The PVC pipe will be strapped to this 2x4 to hold it in place. This will go down in here like so, and so we'll be able to manipulate the table this way.
Well, actually, and right in this position, it won't be a table. It will be our bed extension to help hold our cushions up. But
give us a place sort of for our feet to wander too, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, it'll give some support to our cushions back here. And that was my problem when I was thinking all this out in my head. I knew that they made these strap things, but I hadn't even thought about putting my pipe inside of PVC and let that being the rotation. I was thinking we would get big straps and let it turn in there, which would be a bad idea. So I'm so glad I found his video.
Yeah. Then, so we want this to double. We're actually doing 2 of these. Patty will tell you about the second one in a minute.
Yes.
This one is going to have double duty. It's going to serve, as we've already mentioned, as sort of a bed extension for both of us, so we can kind of play footsie when we're laying in bed there, and help us feel more secure, because our beds are pretty narrow.
Yes.
And it's okay. It's comfortable, but it'll give us a little more support, a little more comfort.
And we may even sleep with our heads down here because, I don't know, we'll see whatever's more comfortable.
We'll see. Right. We should have pointed that out. Normally we sleep with our heads at the other end, and this is the foot end of the bed. So the primary function, or the first function, is as a platform for our feet when we're sleeping. So the plywood will be pretty much level with the bed.
Kind of level.
Give or take, not give or take a foot or two, but give or take a ½ an inch on my side and an inch on Patty's side. But it'll be fine. But we want it to double as a table that we can sit on our beds and eat our meals. So in order to do that, all we have to do is elevate it this way. We'll find the comfortable position that where we want it to be. And what I'll do is, whatever our measurements tell me, I'm going to drill a hole through this PVC pipe so that we can insert this bolt. Just insert it through there to act as a stop for the pipe, so it won't go down any further than that. So voila, we've got a dinner table. When we're done with that, we take the thing out, ease it down, and we can go night-night.
One thing we didn't mention, we bought a cap to go on the bottom of the PVC, and he had actually said a different kind of material, but it wasn't a metal pipe, it was some other kind, but they didn't have that at our store either, so they may have that at your store if you watch his video. And it was supposed to have some other...
ABS pipe.
Yeah, and it was supposed to have some other kind of thing on the bottom, but we just got that.
Now, one thing I've noticed is you can't see from that angle. Didn't realize until I got the pipe up here and put the strap on it that the straps are a little bit wider than the 2x4. They hang over just a little bit, but neither of us think that that's going to be a problem. And if it is going to be a problem, I can probably come in with a tool and snip that off, or if all else fails, get a hammer. All right, so I've already got the female to male end on here that I did it earlier just to piece everything together, and I put it on a little too tight. So I couldn't get it off because I had to turn it enough so that it sticks straight up, so the tabletop would be kind of level anyway. So now...
Oh, wait, another thing too. Wait, let me see that, Tommy. They also sell some cap things for these, but and I can't remember the name of that, but they didn't have any at our store, but they come with this plastic already on there to help protect the threads, and so we're just leaving that on there.
Yeah, it was what she's talking about was a bushing.
Oh yeah, bushing was the name of it.
He bought plastic bushings that would go inside the end of the pipe and cover the ends to protect his floor. We're not protecting the floor because we decided, as you saw, to put a cap on the end of our pipe, but this is going to protect the cap on the inside of the pipe, on the end of the PVC, and hopefully that way the whole gizmo will last longer. So it goes in there like that.
It works.
So what we need to do right now is we're going to put the flange, we're going to attach the flange onto here. And we had to go ahead and we wanted to be able to do this pre-video, but we realized we were about 2 hands short. Because what we have to do is locate the place on the plywood where we want to install to mount the flange on the underside. And the best way to do that is to put it together, and so that we can put place the plywood where we want the plywood to be, and then just mark the holes, and then we'll take that off and secure the flange to the pipe. But we got to thinking about that. Without mounting this in order to take that measurement, we needed 6 hands and we only have 4. All right, so got it like that.
And we don't necessarily want it real tight because we want the tabletop to be able to spin too. But I guess it doesn't matter, huh?
Right now it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We just want it in place.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, something like that. All right.
So there's the plywood over there.
Let's get the plywood. All right, while Patty's down here on her knees in a compromising position, let me tell you just a moment, a couple things about the measurements of the board.
No, come over here and let me
No, it's
measure.
important that we do that. So there's 25 inches between here. So we decided to make it 24 inches. Originally, we were going to make it 24 inches square. But then we said, hey, I wonder if we can get away with 30 inches. And what we decided to do ultimately was make it 32 inches long, because we could always cut it off if it didn't work. And it looks like 32 inches is going to be almost perfect, which is great. So what we're doing now is Patty's down here. I'm going to hold the board. She's going to position the flange right in the middle of the board.
If my shoulder holds up.
If I'll quit talking and let her do it, and then she's going to mark the flange and we'll take it off and mount it to the board.
It's further this way.
Just in case you can't hear, it's the line before the 8, before the 11. Whatever works. It's there.
I think so. Okay.
And so we've got the holes marked on the flange. And just so you'll know, so you can copy our measurements, it was at the 6 before.
After the 10.
It was at the 6 after the 10. We're going to be securing the flange with multi-purpose construction screws number 8 by 3/4 inches. My concern, I'm one of those kind of guys that puts 500 nails when 2 will do. And so I'm just concerned that it's going to be secure. What are you doing?
Oh, just agreeing with you.
Oh,
baby.
she's agreeing with me. So my concern is how sturdy it's going to be with just 4 little screws that won't be all the way in 3/4 of an inch. So we'll see. But this is what will fit in a 3/4 inch plywood board. Anything other than that, it would stick up through the top of the table. It helps if you put the battery on. I'm actually feeling a little better about it. That actually snugged up pretty good. So one of the advantages that had we done a 2x2 square board, I think we could have done it, because when he could assemble and disassemble his by just spinning the tabletop onto the fitting while he was inside the camper. But we might not have room to do that. We might. I don't know. But right now we're gonna put it out here and try to do what he did. I'm worried about doing it as smoothly as he did, because he just was like, yeah, and there it was. So here we go. We're gonna see how this works. And he didn't even look. He just found it with his fingers, and he'd already had.
Ow!
Oh, sorry. Speaking of fingers.
That's what I don't know. Because we may have to have it.
Well, his was also right in the middle. Hey, there it is. It caught it.
Yay.
We don't want it to be all the way tight, just kind of snug,
Yeah.
and we'll show you why.
It's too snug now.
Let's see. Let's see. Bring it in. No, I don't think that's too snug.
Okay, I've got the wrong end. That's the wrong end.
That's the wrong end.
I think.
You're right.
That would be an advantage to doing it the same. But there's a right side and wrong side.
Right.
Uh-oh. I don't think that's good. Why is it doing this?
Oh, you know what?
What?
I know why. Because we didn't I forgot to go ahead and retighten the female to male 90. So we're going to take it off, take the tabletop off, and I'm going to retighten. Well, I may not have to do that. I may can do it
Well, we can take it off and...
just like this.
Oh, is that what was happening?
Yeah.
Oh. That might not be good to do it like... Oh, you're unscrewing this one, though.
Am I unscrewing that or screwing it?
I don't know.
Feels like it got tighter to me.
Oh, I thought it was the one on the bottom of that we were just doing.
It
Were you
was.
doing
I
both
think
of
they
them?
were doing both. I
Oh,
think both.
okay.
Because it's snug now. So hang on a second. Which end goes this way? The long end?
I don't know.
I think it is the long end.
Yeah, because it was too short. Woo, that kind of goes, that's kind of high on this side.
Yeah. It's a lot higher than
Let's see how it looks with the mattress. See that? We might need to lower it some.
Let me help with the angle here to see what the trouble we've run into here. Can you tell?
It's way high.
Way high on one side.
And so, my mattress is folded out. That would be okay for my feet, though. Is it even with the thing? It's wanting to go. You know what?
All right, here's what we need to do.
We need it to be lower.
Yeah, and I think what I need to do is I need to take the tabletop off and then tighten all the fittings to where they need to be and then put the tabletop back on because we didn't have this problem earlier. And I think what's happened is some of it's come loose and we've got different measurements and whatnot because the fittings aren't tight. So I'm going to stop this. We'll be right back after we get the fittings tight and the table back on. All right, so that it's not perfect, but it's serviceable.
It's serviceable. And look, Tommy's bed's higher than my bed. And it's because we have 2x4s in the front here, but back in the back, it's not sitting on 2x4s. It's actually sitting on the cup holders. And we have 2x4s going on the side.
That are molded into the side of the van.
Because we've left all that intact. We haven't taken all that out. So that side of the van is higher than this side of the van. So that's just reality. But it's not that bad.
No, remember it was like up here.
Yeah, he's got them tightened down real good and everything. And, you know, this is livable for us.
Now, one thing I forgot about, and it's actually, we've got to do it. It's proven that we have to do it. Was, remember I told you I was concerned about the little 3/4 inch screws? Well, with us wiggling around on it to try to get it adjusted, the screws are already working themselves loose. So it's no big deal. We're going to take it off of there. We're going to turn it a little bit and use different screw holes. And then we're going to Gorilla Glue or liquid nail the flange to the actual plywood itself. And then I'll also probably put Gorilla Glue down, you know, like on the end of the screws. So when we screw them in there, by the time it dries and sets, it'll be a more permanent installation.
But first, but before we do that, let's go ahead and make it where it can be our table too.
Right. So we've got our footrest. Now Patty's got the full weight of her upper body here. So it's serviceable.
I'm not really on
you
it.
feel like you can sleep with your head this way now?
Yeah.
Like that? Mm-hmm. So if we sleep with our heads at the other end and it's just our feet, we think it's going to work fine. But now let's look at what we're going to do to make it double duty as a table.
Yes. We've actually measured for the height of the table, and so this is going to be our bolt that we're going to stick in there to stop the pipe from going all the way down so it can be lifted up and be a table.
Ta-da!
Alright, let's see.
Let's see what happens. So there we go.
Nice. We have a table.
We've got a table. And it's not as sturdy as it needs to be, but it will be, I think. I think most of the motion is taking place because the flange is loose, because of those little bitty tiny screws.
And we should have maybe taken the table off to tighten those things, those connector things.
Yeah, probably so.
The 90s.
And I'll tell you something. If gluing it on there doesn't solve the problem, I may talk to Patty about, well, I just thought about recessing them, because we could actually use some bolts. Bolt the flange on from the top of the table. Just make sure that that the heads can recess down into the plywood.
No.
So that you can't get hung on them. Well, we got to make it tight.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it works.
Well, we're back. We went and changed clothes and came right back out.
Not true.
Not true. We had to. Remember the last time you were with us, which by your clock was about 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
We had told you we were going to Gorilla Glue the flanges on top of the table to make sure that they stuck real good. And so we did that.
And we made the pipe for the smaller table too.
Yeah, we also made a pipe for the smaller table. And then we just let the Gorilla Glue set all night long. And man, so far, it worked
really good.
Great.
And also, you saw the wiggle we had. We went to church this morning. Yesterday was Saturday, today's Sunday. And Tommy was like, we got the wrong size PVC pipe. We forgot, we was looking at blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we went back to check it and we didn't. We actually got 1-inch PVC pipe to go with. No, we got 1 1/4 inch PV, but see, because it wouldn't fit in the 1 inch, we were thinking maybe we didn't try the right ones or whatever, but we did.
Hang on. So let me, just a word about that. I don't remember the measurements of the pipe that the guy on Back to Reality did. What he used, what measurement on galvanized and what measurement on the ABS pipe. But, and I'm not a plumber. So if you can find ABS, so you need to watch Back to Reality's video. The link is in the description. And see what measurements he says. But here, I'm not a plumber, but I know this. For example, a 1-inch PVC pipe and a 1-inch CVC pipe are not the same.
I think the inside diameter is the same. It's the outside.
Maybe so.
And,
that makes the most sense to me.
And on the metal pipes, I have noticed that the outside of the pipe it's thicker, you know, on the metal than it is like. So anyway.
But I didn't know. The thing that puzzles me a little bit is on the little bit of the Back to Reality video that I watched, he didn't seem to be dealing with the pipe wiggling inside of his ABS pipe.
So what we're thinking, the ABS pipe, you can get a snugger fit. So anyway, if you can get that, we can get that.
And it may be that the walls are, who knows.
But listen, Tommy got it fixed. He fixed it. He figured it out. Look at this.
I had an epiphany laying in bed last night. And I don't know if I was asleep or not, but I thought about this. Electrical tape. It might be easier if I just take it out. I thought to myself, because actually we were thinking about what could we get to stick down, you know, whenever we get to...
I was thinking about sticking something down in there to keep it from wiggling, but this is so much better. This is just electrical tape wrapped round and round, and it's actually made it a little bit thicker, And it's rubbery feeling, you know how electrical tape is, so it really is nice. It's the perfect solution. So
and I think it's like 20 wraps. I forgot to do it on the first one, and I made it too thick, and when I put it down in the pipe, it tore the tape up. But on the rest of them, I counted, and it's either 20 or 25. 25 wraps, and it works perfectly.
Yep.
Got to be a little more careful sticking it down in there because I don't want to catch the tape on the edge of the PVC pipe.
So we've got our table, and it actually sets down for the bed. But this is one of the things that I was so excited about doing. And this is one thing that I was hoping this table could have 3 functions. The table, the bed, and a cook table. But we couldn't wrap our heads around that. But anyway, look how cool this is. This is my kitchen area right here where I have my kitchen stuff. And this is my cook table.
How about that? Ta-da!
I love it. I love it. And so I can cook. And let me get the table. And we have our table right here. So I can just cook and put it right up on the table.
How about that? It's not quite a lazy Susan, but it works pretty well. So, and on the lower table, we're probably just going to take it out to travel.
No, not to travel, to sleep. I mean, to sit at the table.
That's right. We decided to leave it in there if it's traveling. It won't be traveling.
Because we can't watch. Go ahead and put it in. I wouldn't want to put my feet on the table that I'm going to be cooking on anyway, but it's just not enough foot room down here. So we'll just take it out when we're sitting at the table. If we have the doors closed, if we have the doors open, we'll just leave it out here.
Boy,
no big deal.
That tape job was a tight fit. In fact, I'm just going to leave it in. What else, hon?
I think that's about it.
So we are very grateful to Back to Reality, who Patty has been racking her brain trying to come up with a table.
Yeah, and like I said, I had it figured out in my head. I'd even drawn it out, what I needed. Like I said, I didn't, what's that thing?
The flange.
The flange. I didn't know the name of that. I knew that they made, I would have bought something for a true table, but it was so much easier knowing the names of the stuff. Now, if I could only remember the names of the stuff. But anyway, it did make it a lot easier, and with using the PVC pipe, and it just really made all the difference in the world finding his video.
Yeah, so and it was a great video, very well done.
Yeah.
Pretty good sized channel.
Yes.
So hop on over to Back to Reality and do us a favor and tell him thank you on behalf of Alderman Farms, and subscribe to his channel and tell him that we sent you.
Yes.
Again, there's a link to that video in the description of this video. And speaking of subscribing, if you haven't subscribed to Alderman Farms, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down if you want to, or if you accidentally, that's fine too. But subscribe to us, and look, we're going to be putting this stuff to the test pretty soon.
Yes, we're having a 2-week, really a little bit longer than a 2-week vacation, and we're going to be living out of our camper van.
Yeah.
So excited about that. And I'll be doing a van tour pretty soon, showing the whole setup of our van.
So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day.